Hello, my name is Michele, and you're listening to Profit is a Choice. How often do you consider the idea of a team in your business? Perhaps you are a solopreneur and think you work alone, or maybe you have a huge group of employees and subcontractors. Either way, and everywhere in between, we work as teams to get things done. On today's podcast, we'll look at the 5 areas to focus on for our teams to be strong. Every day, empowered entrepreneurs are taking ownership of their company financial health and enjoying the rewards of reduced stress and more creativity. With my background as a financial software developer, owner of multiple businesses in the interior design industry, educator, and speaker, I coach women in the interior design industry to increase their profits, regain ownership of their bottom line, and to have fun again in their business. Welcome to Profit is a Choice. When I started my company over 21 years ago, I didn't even consider that I was building a team from day one. It just never crossed my mind. In my mind, I just thought, well, it's me, myself, and I. So I guess in some weird way, that could have been a team. But nevertheless, as time went on, I immediately realized I could not do all that needed to be done in my business all by myself. Maybe you remember the truth bomb I dropped in episode 127, and that alone is, where it says you're not enough. It's true. We are not. Here's what's super cool to consider. My idea of team has expanded dramatically to merge in with every aspect of my business. In my Aim with Intent methodology, we look at team in 3 ways: internal, external, and support. Broken down very simplistically, this means that anytime we're working with anyone else, we are a team. This could be a vendor, a client, a contractor, or an employee, anyone. See, nobody is ever in business alone. I love that WCAA uses that as a hashtag, never in business alone. Because by the very term of business, we are creating a transaction with someone, somewhere. And when we're looking at the idea of team, we are only as strong as our weakest link. My clients hear me say that all the time, that I really care less about their top-end vendors and more about the lowest level of vendor support or offering or quality that they choose to work with. Why? Because that is the weakest link or the lowest common denominator or the lowest brand point. You can always go up, but we don't want to go lower. And the same goes for team. One wrong client and our confidence is rocked. One bad vendor and it cost us more than money. One bad hire and we're shaken to have to even repeat the hiring process again. Many of you are shaking your head with me right now or feeling that punch in the gut because memories of these experiences seem to haunt us. Conversely, when we get it right, we want to keep it right. Here are the top 5 areas to focus on to build a strong team for your interior design business. Number 1, identify the characteristics that are needed for your ideal team. This works no matter the team. We talk about it all the time, your ideal client. Who is your ideal client in terms of budget or project and characteristics? But what if I told you that we also needed to have an idea of the ideal vendors that we work with? What characteristics do they need to have to fully support us and our clients? How about what we need from an ideal bookkeeper or an ideal accountant or a coach or any other support advisor? If we don't know what we need, how do we know if we find it? Choosing an ideal contractor or vendor matters. Take time to recognize the individual needs of your firm. What are the hard and soft needs for each area? And when you're working with someone who no longer aligns with what your firm needs, make a change. Don't keep trying to fit the round peg into the square hole. It will only cause frustration and will lead to a loss in income and in sleep. Number 2, identify the roles of each person on the team. It is very, very important to know which role each person on a team is playing. Who's responsible for what activities or decisions? Who's leading the team? Who's being supported or who's doing the supporting? Who's documenting? Clearly identifying the reporting structure on each team is just so very important. You know, it's funny, I keep telling you that all of this is important, and it's because it's all really important. I've seen more issues arise from not clearly identifying what each person on a team is responsible for than about anything else. That and maybe communication. And you can guess where all of this leads. Balls dropped or duplication of effort. Again, both of these cause trouble. Here's an example I hear or that you might see out on a Facebook group. You're searching for the perfect sofa or fill in the blank, whatever the item is, for your client's project, and they're out on Wayfair or some other online search engine looking and searching on their own and sending you pictures. And you're thinking to yourself, excuse me, you're paying me to do that. Why are you doing that? I would tell you it's because each person's role is not absolutely clear in that situation. And we have a problem with number 3. And number 3 is identify clear expectations of each role. Not only do the roles need to be defined for a team, but the expectations for the work to be produced needs to be clearly defined. What's expected and what format should it be delivered in? To what level should the work be completed? And what are the due dates? All of these answers make the difference in each person getting what they need out of the team. Surely you all remember being in school and being put on a team project. Woohoo, yippee, said nobody ever. Instead, we all dreaded it. And why is that? Because we were not well versed in making sure that we knew who was going to do what. We didn't know if they were going to do it, if the other person was going to do it as well as we could do it by ourselves. Could we even trust them? See, you're all, again, having those sweaty palms and heart palpitations from those group projects where everybody was graded together and not on individual performance. And we hated it when the teacher said to us that one day you're going to have to work with others. And I'm here to tell you today is that day. So let's set up our teams to win so that we don't repeat the same thing that happened on our 3rd grade science project where Timmy forgot to double space the typed report and Janice didn't know that she was supposed to create the visual aids. We can do better. The number 4 thing that we need to really focus on to build the best team for our interior design business is identifying communication preferences and timing. For me, one of the hardest parts of being on a team is not knowing where we are at all times. Communication is the key to solving this issue. Doing things like creating set times to talk about a project or to do an email check-in, those really help. Maybe it's just having confirmation from a vendor that a placed order was received. Even an email response that is auto-generated relieves stress and gives us a communication chain. When working with someone else in any capacity, be very clear on communication. Again, this could be a teammate, it could be a client, it could be a vendor, it could be anybody. Define how, when, why, and where you will communicate going forward. And when we know what's coming or what's expected in terms of information share, we're able to relax and let the team work at its best. I'm not even going to get into it in this podcast, but, we also have to be careful how we communicate information, good and bad. That can certainly make or break a team, but just be aware of that as you do look to communicate with those that you're trying to work with. Number 5, identify feedback loops. Maybe you're asking yourself right now, what is a feedback loop? It's just a fancy term for get all the info and close the conversation. So if you ask a question, then the feedback loop is closed when you get the answer. And this goes along kind of with communication in number 4. Another important need for closing the feedback loop is being aware of when team ends. I know a lot of clients have said, when is done, done? We talk about that all the time. How do I get out of these projects that seem to never end? What is the end of the project or the transaction? For a client, the feedback loop could be closed when you receive the last payment and the work as stated in the contract is complete. With an employee, it could be when they leave the company and get their last paycheck, or when the team is dissolved because the work is done. No matter what it is, define how you will close the loop on any open items or needs so that the team functions thoroughly and collectively for the greater outcome. Having and managing teams is part of a growing and scaling business. We must do it from day one, but then as we know, as our firms grow larger, their demands are needed for more and more teams. As stated in the opening, we are as strong as our weakest link. Take this time to go back and review your teams now that you know that team is anybody that works with anybody else. So it is more than one person. What's working? What's not working? Where can you improve? And where do you maybe need to form a new team? I help businesses every day grow, scale, build, and actually even dissolve teams. And it can be a lot of work to do this alone. Reach out and let me assist you. Sign up for a discovery call at scarletthreadconsulting.com. Working with the right people and for the right people is part of the magic that happens when we get it right. My Aim with Intent teaches aligning your team in my people system. Great teams build profit, and profit doesn't happen by accident.